Hi, we're 3 registered dietitians who specialise in the area of nutrition and the older person. We are all very passionate about how the food we eat plays an important role in supporting healthy ageing. My name is Lorna.
I'm Emma.
And I'm Aidan.
Malnutrition and the older person. In this video, we are talking about malnutrition and the older person. Malnutrition in the older person develops when the food an older person is eating is not enough to meet the demands of their body, and this can have a negative effect on health and overall well-being.
We want to avoid malnutrition as it can mean reduced immune system, so increased risk of infection and longer recovery times. You may also experience loss of muscle mass and strength, which can increase your risk of frailty or falls. It can also lead to tiredness and exhaustion, and you may experience lower mood.
Older persons are more at risk.
Malnutrition can happen to anyone, but it's particularly common in the older person. That can be because we have a loss in our appetite or a change in our sense of taste and smell as we age. Different illnesses and medications. You can have problems like chewing or swallowing, or gut issues like constipation. Or maybe you're living alone or finding it harder to get out. Any of those things can mean that you're eating less and your body's not getting the nutrition that it needs.
Signs of malnutrition. Malnutrition is something we see a lot of in our day-to-day work, and it's really important that people know the main signs to look out for. Emma, what would be something you'd see a lot of in clinic?
A major sign that I would see would be unplanned weight loss. So this can be something that you can see on a weighing scales, but you may also notice things like your clothes start to fit looser, your jewellery like your watch or your rings, or even your dentures start to feel a bit loose. Or even family or friends may comment they notice that you've lost weight.
Yeah, I would find that the older person sometimes with unplanned weight loss, they'd even see this as a positive thing or that is a natural part of ageing. But it's really important that they would speak to their healthcare professional, because we know that this is something that can be quite serious.
Another key thing then, of course, is appetite. Loss of appetite, and that can be very subtle. Is you have a loss of interest in foods, just not feeling as hungry or even feeling very full very quickly.
It's really important that people spot or see these signs early so they can manage malnutrition early.
But remember, people don't realise that malnutrition is hidden and not obvious a lot of the time. Traditionally, we think of somebody who's unwell and very thin, but you can be a normal weight or overweight and still malnourished.
If you have noticed any signs of malnutrition, such as unplanned weight loss or loss of appetite, you should speak to a healthcare professional. We will now look at some changes you can make until you do speak to a healthcare professional or attend an appointment for a dietitian. What to do to prevent or manage malnutrition.
Firstly, try eat little and often. If your appetite is poor, you may not be able to finish your usual meals. Try to eat smaller meals and include 2 to 3 extra snacks over the day. This may work better for you. Also, think about the time of the day that your appetite is at its best and plan your main meal around this time. Try to choose foods that provide calories and protein. If you are eating less, you want to get the most out of your foods that you are eating. Choose full-fat versions instead of low-fat. These provide you with more calories in the same portion. Examples here are full-fat yogurts, milk, cheese, butter, cream. Also, try to choose foods that are good sources of protein and include these in your meals and snacks. Protein is really important for muscle health and strength. I have some foods here that are good sources of protein. These include things like meat, fish, nuts, eggs, and dairy foods like milk and yogurts. Try to add some of these to your shopping list.
What to do to prevent or manage malnutrition. I'm going to talk about food enrichment, also known as food fortification. And this is all about adding extra ingredients into your foods to make them more nourishing. Firstly, I'm going to look at enriched milk. Milk in itself is already very nourishing, but you can actually add a product called skim milk powder. And by adding this, you can further increase the calories and the protein. Skim milk powder can be found in most supermarkets near the tea or the coffee section. I usually follow the recipe from Making the Most of Every Bite, which you can get on the HSC website, but it's a very simple recipe, as you will see. Here we add 4 heaped tablespoons of skim milk powder into the jug. You then add a small amount of milk to make this powder into a paste, and then you start to add the full pint until it is smooth. You can use this enriched milk over the next 24 hours. We can then use this enriched milk as a drink or in your food throughout the day. It can be added to your tea or your coffee, or you can make nourishing drinks such as a malted drink like Ovaltine, hot chocolate, milky coffees, or on hotter days you can make a milkshake. You can enrich everyday foods using things like grated cheese, your butter, your cream. You could even add in some honey. Also think about things like your nuts or your grounded nuts. You can also change to frying and use oil instead of boiling, and this is all to get that extra nutrition in. Think about the foods that you are eating on a daily basis and how you could enrich them. Here are some ideas. Porridge made on full fat or enriched milk or added honey or grounded nuts is a good way of getting extra calories and protein in. Soup is a popular food but can be low in protein and calories. But by adding beans or pieces of chicken and cream, these will be increased. For fruit, whether fresh or tinned fruit, you could think about adding custard, or else you could add some thick and creamy yogurt or some cream.
So, thinking of day-to-day activities that are important to ensure you're eating well. If you've difficulty accessing shops, these days we can get online shopping or home deliveries, so check locally or ask for support from a friend, relative or neighbour. Add some useful items to your shopping list for the cupboard or your freezer. Keep meals simple, not complicated. So while fresh or homemade is obviously best, your local butcher, shops and supermarkets have prepared or frozen meals which are much easier to manage. Or find out about Meals on Wheels in your area. And there are some companies that can deliver frozen meals to you. Eat meals with others if you can. Maybe try a local day centre or a club, or arrange to meet a friend who lives alone and have a meal together. After all, food is about enjoyment. And for those who may forget to eat, try setting a routine such as eating when the news comes on, or having reminders, an alarm, maybe keeping note of intake, and having support from others. Find out what works for you.
I think I am at risk of malnutrition. If you or someone you know might be at risk of malnutrition, please let your healthcare professional know. Keep a record of your weight and also try some of the tips in this video. This information was developed for the older adult. If you have a medical condition such as renal disease or diabetes, problems with swallowing or food allergies, this may not be suitable for you. Please speak to your healthcare professional.